John Saranitas, and tonight I have the good fortune to be joined by Boston College defensive back John Pupel. John, how things going, man?
Going good. I really appreciate you having me on the show. Really grateful for that.
Yeah, no, of course, man. Anytime. I appreciate you taking the time, and you did warn me ahead of time if we have an interruption. You were at the hospital. Your brother just had a baby, I believe, baby boy. You said.
Yep. Fourth child. So it'll be my second nephew. So we're excited about that for sure. It's a big
Awesome.
blessing.
Well, hey, man, I'm sure you're an awesome uncle, and I'm sure you'll be an awesome uncle to this young lad, future football player. But that's great news. And again, thanks for taking the time to join us from the hospital. Greatly appreciate it, man. First things first, let's get into your playing career. Obviously, you had an opportunity to play at Dartmouth and then Boston College, stand out at both places. Talk a little bit about how you got into football, your high school career, and let's start with how you ended up at Dartmouth.
Yeah. So grew up in a football family. Had an uncle who broke a lot of records at Ferris State playing quarterback. So my dream was always to play quarterback. Um, you know, Seventh grade, I got taken in by Greg Sherwin, who was a great influence on my life. He played at Central Michigan. He had us working out as a team, and it was a big goal of mine to win a lot of high school games for my hometown. I played in Traverse City until my junior year of high school when I got the opportunity to go to a boarding school and repeat my junior year, get a little more exposure, get around some better talent. And that was an awesome experience. And it was really there I got attracted to the Ivy League. My coach, Pano Vulgaris, who's done a lot for me.
Hello, Greek. I was talking to him the other day.
Yeah, a great coach, even better man, and he really looking out for me. Tried to encourage me to go to the Ivy League, um, and I was doing my circuit around the league, and Dartmouth was the first one to offer, and I fell in love with Buddy Tevens. He was a great coach, even better man. He had a great staff that's still doing amazing things at Dartmouth, and I thought it was an amazing opportunity to get a great education, be around people who really cared about me as an individual. Um, and I loved every moment of it. I had great teammates, great coaches. There's not enough good things I could say about that place.
I do want to talk about Coach Stevens. Obviously, we lost him way too soon last year after a bicycle accident. You mentioned you fell in love with him and the opportunity to play at Dartmouth. He touched so many lives, and I think a lot of it with Buddy was just who he was. I mean, he was somebody you wanted to play for. To him, it was more than just preparing you for the game of football, but in many ways, and I know this can be cliche, John, we hear this often about coaches, but in many ways, he was preparing you for the game of life.
Yeah, and you like you said, you hear a lot of coaches talk about that, and I'm sure a lot of them do it. I don't know many that did it to the level of Buddy Tevens. I mean, this man cared so much about the individuals in his organization, and that came through to me the moment I stepped on campus, and it made my decision so easy. He had so many connections throughout football, throughout business. Was an alumni of Dartmouth. He loved that place. He loved everyone that was a part of that place, and every person I meet has nothing but good things to say about Buddy Tevens, and he's had a tremendous impact on the game of football. So I was really grateful to
Huge
play for him.
impact. Huge. I mean, from what he did on the field as a coach to ways to make the game safer to giving women opportunities to get into the coaching profession. I mean, he has had, and in women and minorities, he has had an enormous impact on the game. And it's not hyperbole. I mean, when we look back years later at Buddy's legacy, that's when you're really going to see his impact on the game. You play your 4 years at Dartmouth, you then have an opportunity to grad transfer, and you decide to walk on at Boston College. Why Boston College, and what went into that decision, and how was that experience for you? You had a hell of a year last year for the Eagles.
I really appreciate that. So I was using my high school coach Panos Vulgaris to help me through the process, and I knew it was going to be hard to get a scholarship. I had hopes of doing that. I kind of entered the portal very late. I wasn't 100% convinced I was going to leave Dartmouth, but then a few of my buddies, Isaiah Johnson, he went in and got a Syracuse offer. Jalen Mackey went in and got a Massachusetts
Yeah.
offer. So I see these guys going, and I'm like, I know I can play at that level, and I know that sadly, NFL coaches do look at Ivy League different than they look at Power Five, and rightfully so. So I was very felt like I needed to get out of there, and I needed to prove that I could play at the highest level of college football. And Boston College came along, and I learned about Coach Halfley, who great pedigree as a DB coach, and Coach Turin. I fell in love with those guys, and they told me, straight up, we'll give you an opportunity, and that's all I needed. I didn't need, the scholarship or all that. I just needed someone who would give me a shot, and I knew I could do the rest, and that's what they gave me. And then I got to learn from great guys like Jaden Woodby, Jason Maitre, Elijah Jones. So to come into an atmosphere that had established themselves as kind of a DB place, and someone that they were having a lot of success in the defensive backfield, I saw it as a great opportunity. Now I was familiar with the area. Dartmouth is a 2-hour bus ride from Boston College, and so it kind of everything was right, and it was kind of similar to a Dartmouth situation where I was really lucky. Both places I went, it felt right. It was the right fit, and it was so easy to make those decisions. I had a lot of confidence doing it.
Yeah, and in covering you last year, John, and covering the Eagles, and of course we cover all 16 D1 programs here at New England Football Journal. I mean, and I'm not saying it because you're my guest tonight, but your transition was seamless, man. I mean, you stepped in. You could see it from camp last year. Like, you stepped in and really took the proverbial bull by the horns, and you were making plays. You popped, and next thing you know, all of a sudden now you're in the starter rotation and you're playing big time snaps. I mean, when did you know in that process that, hey, not only can I play here, but I can play a lot here?
Not to sound arrogant, it's more just confidence in my abilities and even the development I had at Dartmouth. I really wouldn't have left if I didn't think I could. I wasn't a guy who was like, oh, I want to play Power 5 football, even if it's on special teams. I've always had a dream of playing more football beyond college football at the NFL, CFL, UFL. I just want to play more football, and I knew I had that talent the moment I left, and then I had a redshirt year where I got to learn from those guys and really develop under Coach Turin. So my confidence was always extremely high. And it just grew and grew, like you said, as I began getting more opportunities. And I'm not going to lie, there definitely was moments where I was like, wow, this is going to be difficult. This is going to be an uphill battle. I didn't really understand what it meant to be a walk-on at the Power 5 level, because you don't have that in the Ivy League. The walk-on, everyone's a walk-on essentially because there's no scholarships. So getting there and being around some of those guys who were recruited right out of high school, you do realize you're at the bottom of the totem pole, and the only way you're going to climb is if you make plays and show your worth. Nothing's going to be handed to you. So it was a long process, but like I said, I had a lot of confidence, and I was lucky enough to be around coaches who had confidence in me and were willing to give me a shot.
Yeah, and it paid off certainly for the program. Like I said, you had a hell of a year, and you put yourself in this position. So fast forward to after the season, big win in the Fenway Bowl, and your career at Boston College on a high note. Fast forward to the end of the season, you have a pretty unique opportunity to go over in Japan and play in the Dream Bowl, which is the Ivy League All-Stars against a Japanese All-Star team. Talk about how that opportunity came about, and what was that experience like?
So Dino, who is the liaison at Dartmouth, reached out to me about the opportunity, and I thought it was a great opportunity to play another game of football, and also I'm a kid who I hadn't even been on a plane before I went to boarding school. I never left the country, so going to Japan was a cool opportunity for me culturally to experience something else, and we also did some networking over there. Met some really great individuals for business opportunities and such. And then on top of that, it was a great football opportunity because I was around, great coaches who were looking to develop me and have the best outcome for that game. I thought it was another opportunity to quickly learn a new scheme and put out good tape. We did not win the game, which was a little disappointing, but I think I did play well. I had a safety in the game. It was great to reconnect with some Ivy League teammates as well. Cam Dillon's a guy, a Duke Duke player who was over there. It was good playing with him. Alex Washington, one of my BC teammates, was over there as well. So overall, a great experience, and it's something I really enjoyed.
And obviously that helped you in the pre-draft process, which brings me to my next question here. How has that process gone for you? What has the pre-draft process been like for you? Where have you been working out? How have you been preparing for the draft?
Yeah, I was lucky enough. My high school strength coach, Doug Lee. There's a lot of high school coaches out there who may not be on the best stuff. Or Doug Lee is someone I trust a lot, and he has all the one of the greatest facilities I've seen a high school have, and it's all done through his own fundraising. And he's really had a positive impact on Traverse City football in general. So to have the opportunity to come back home, train with him, have access to all the timing stuff, all the tendo units for lifting, and him really just helping me. I'm not being a walk-on. I didn't have money to go pay to train out some of the top places. So he took me under his wing and has really helped me out a lot. It's been a great opportunity to also reconnect with my community. The kids around Traverse City, and trying to be an example of, you can make it from this area. And so it's been a good experience. I was really happy with my pro day. I would say I was dealing with some hamstring issues that prevented me from running my best 40 time, in my opinion. And I'm actually going to go back and run another one because I'm confident, and I know I'm a little faster than what I showed on that pro day. What I did jumping and, the other tests, I feel confident about.
Yeah, no, I was there, man. I thought you had a strong workout. I thought you acquitted yourself well. What's it like to be in that environment, working out in front of all of those scouts? There were 24 scouts there, NFL and CFL scouts. What was that like for you? And before you answer that question, how was it preparing for that, putting all that work into that one day? Because let's face it, it's not like if you get invited to the combine, you have an opportunity to do it twice, if you will. For you, you had to be on point that day.
Yeah. To be completely transparent, it's stressful. Like I said, I was dealing with a lower hamstring issue, and I honestly didn't talk to scouts about that just because I thought I didn't expect to put the 40 time up that I did. So it's stressful, but it's also an amazing opportunity. You're as close as you've ever been to a dream. Like I said, I've been working for, I mentioned 7th grade. That's really when I started getting in the gym after school, showing up early mornings. But it started before that. You're 8 years old at Pop Warner, dreaming of that day. So it's really a special opportunity, and that's how I tried to reframe it in my mind. Instead of getting anxious and all worked up over it, I tried to think back of that kid and what I would have given to be in this moment, and just trying to take advantage every day. Putting my everything into performing on my pro day. And like I said, I really give a credit to Doug Lee and even some of the other coaches at Traverse City Central for building confidence in me and telling me I need to do this, and making sure that I knew I was ready and I deserved to be there. And the day of, you get there and you look around and see all those scouts. If anything, I think it just makes you perform better. It's an extra layer of motivation for sure. It is different. It's probably my first time running with 24 people timing. So,
Right, it is, and it's a unique opportunity to get in front of scouts. But like you said, it also within that moment you realize, all right, here I am now. I'm chasing my dream. Something every kid that grows up loving a sport or falling in love with a sport thinks about. Now you're in that position. I would imagine it's probably a pretty cool feeling. You are watching Field of Draft. I'm your host, John Serenidis. This week I'm joined by John Pupel, defensive back, formerly of Dartmouth and Boston College. John, have you had an opportunity to meet with any teams? And if so, if you can divulge who those teams were, who were they, and what did you learn from those meetings?
So I've only had one meeting, and it took place after the pro day. I met with the Patriots, and I was able to go over some stuff on a whiteboard with the coaches. It was a really great experience and some insight into, what those meetings will look like going forward. And I think it was a great opportunity for me to show my IQ because it's something that it definitely pops across in tape, right? You make certain plays, but until they hear you talk about the game, talk about concepts, it's something that's an unknown. So it was a great opportunity for me to put what I think is one of my biggest strengths forward and show my knowledge of the game and knowledge of defensive schemes and even offensive sets. So I really enjoyed that opportunity, and I'm looking forward to any other opportunity that pops up.
Speaking of your game, talk a little bit about your game and how would you describe your game? Because to me, when I covered you and I watched you play, in this day and age, I came up with a term last year, and safeties today are what I call 3-by-3 players. And I coached for a long time. If in order to play safety in the NFL today, you got to be a 3-by-3 player in many ways. And what I mean by that is you got to be able to play at all three levels, and you got to be able to play all three downs. And I look at you in your game, and I think you fit that mold. What are your thoughts on that? How would you describe your game?
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And yeah, I think so. Talking about what I did at Dartmouth, I was a nickel. So I'm one on one in the slot. I'm blowing up screen passes. Um, I'm fitting in the run game. So I had to do everything. And then I came to BC and I was asked to do a lot of the similar things, but a little different of a role just because I'm talking a lot more. I'm moving people around. And I love that. Like I said, I think my knowledge of the game is one thing that separates me. So being in a position where, I got to line people up, I got to make sure we're getting the calls in every play. I think it was amazing. And then another aspect of my game, I really like getting in the box, and I like blitzing, and I really think I can disrupt backfields. I had quite a few TFLs on the year, and one thing I was really loving doing as a safety is using that two shell look and being able to time up blitzes off the field or into the boundary and really disrupt offenses. But like you said, I think I'm a player who can do a lot of things for a team. And I don't really care what my role is on it. I want to help win games. I can play special teams. I can play defense. I can get in the box. I can defend the pass. So I'm a guy who prides myself on, being fast, being a great tackler, and really being a team guy who will take up any role any coach asks me. And at the end of the day, not only hold myself to a high standard, but create a high standard to the players around me and make sure everyone's working.
Yeah, and I think, and again, I'm not saying it because I've gotten to cover you and I've been around you. All those things are all true. What you're saying. I mean, I think that the way you described your game are all things I saw on the field from you last year, and certainly, obviously, these are all things that can translate to the next level. If by chance the opportunity, John, doesn't present itself to play in the NFL, would you consider playing professionally in one of the other leagues, whether it be the UFL, CFL, overseas arena?
Yeah, 100%. I want to play more football. My goal will ultimately always be the NFL. So if I go to another league, I think it will be with hopes to get back to the NFL. I know guys who try for years. I'm willing to do anything to play at the highest level. And I don't mean to discredit those other leagues by any means. I would be very honored to be a part of any team at any level. So to answer your question, yes, definitely. I'm just looking to play more football.
Just going back to the Dream Bowl for a second, before we went live, you were talking about having the opportunity to play for Tom Zabakowski, who's on the Browns staff. And what did you learn from him? How was that experience? And did that experience help you in this process so far?
Yeah, he's a guy who's been in NFL camps, been around NFL teams, and I think building the confidence to really believe I can do that, and also being around a guy who I could relate to a lot. Went to Notre Dame, had a hell of a career there, and so just picking his brain was amazing. He really helped me some man coverage stuff, and put it in ways I hadn't really heard it before. really only working with a coach for a week, he did have a large impact on me, and it made the experience all the better for sure. And I was really grateful to meet him.
Obviously there you have to find some balance in life when you're not lifting, you're not practicing, you're not playing the game. What do you like to do off the field?
Yeah, I grew up. I haven't done it recently, but I grew up in an extreme sports family. We grew up, Michigan. You get a lot of snow, so I grew up snowboarding. I could do flips on the snowboard, on a wakeboard. Funny enough, I think some of my willingness to throw my body in there comes from that. Because when you're learning to do a backflip on a snowboard, it's not.
You
It's
gotta
not
take
a.
some bumps.
Yeah, exactly. So I think some of my fearlessness comes from that, and I think it's a interesting aspect a lot of people don't know about me.
And do you have any other interests? I mean, you
Yeah.
talk to guys, they like to cook, they like to do, they like to fish, they like to spend time with family. I mean, do you have any other interests besides extreme sports?
Oh yeah, 100%. Big family guy. I'm from a family of six, so I'm the youngest boy. I already have six nieces and nephews in total. I love spending time around them. My youngest nephew is actually or my oldest nephew. I apologize. My youngest nephew was born today. Um, he's getting into.
Congratulations again, by the way.
Thank you very much. Yeah, he's into lacrosse, so I love going to his lacrosse games. Um,
Great sport. I coached it for years.
Oh yeah, I actually an amazing opportunity. I had his seventh grade year. I was home because of COVID. Ivy League football was shut down. I got to coach his seventh grade football team, and man, I'll look back on that with the most fond memories for the rest of my life. That was an amazing opportunity. Yeah, but being around Lake Michigan and stuff too, definitely love getting around the water with my family. Nothing beats that. But definitely a kid who just loves being around his family. Golf a little bit. I'm not good at it by any means, but
I know the feeling.
something that's fun to do.
Must be a John thing.
Yeah.
It just couple more questions here for you, John. Obviously, draft night's 3 weeks from tonight, which is hard to believe. It's round one, but any plans for that weekend, or are you going to watch, or are you just going to go about your business, do your thing, and hope you get the call?
Definitely going to be getting some workouts in and continually to work. So when I get that opportunity, I'm ready. One of my buddies, Isaiah Johnson out of Syracuse, will be hosting a draft party. Probably the first or second night. So I'm going to drive down to Detroit and celebrate him and all his success, and hopefully be waiting on a call myself as well. But I think that would be great to go support him, and I hope he gets the call as well.
Awesome. Well, it'd be great, for both of you to get the call. Final question here, John. What is the team getting in you if they draft you as a person and as a player?
So first and foremost, as a person, I'm someone who prides myself on my work ethic. I believe any room I'm a part of is going to become better just because how I attack every day. I've definitely been an underdog throughout my career in certain aspects, and it's something that's never made me shy away or love the sport less. It makes me more hungry, and I think anyone who's been around me can vouch for that. I love this game so much, and I'm willing to do anything to keep playing. And as a person, also, I think I really respect the game, and I respect those who are a part of it. I know. It's an opportunity. I look at playing football as an amazing opportunity and a blessing. So it's something I don't take for granted. I'm not a guy who's ever complaining. I look at it as a gift. And then as a football player, I think you're getting a great tackler. Like I said, someone who loves the game, someone who's willing to do anything to win, someone who's been around winning teams and seen what it takes. I know the NFL is a different level, but yeah, I'm ready to come in and contribute any way I can. I think you get a great special teamers too. I played a lot of special teams at Dartmouth, BC. My first year, I played 4 games in special teams when I was redshirting. So like I said, it's just willing to do anything to help the team win, and someone who loves this game.
Well, John, it's been a pleasure to cover your career at Dartmouth and Boston College, man. You're a hell of a football player and an even better person. We're rooting for you. We can't wait to see where you end up and where you get that opportunity. And I know wherever that is, they're going to get a hell of a football player and someone who's going to give it everything they have. It's been a pleasure to get to talk to you tonight, my man.
I really appreciate you having me, and thanks for all you do for New England football. We all really appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, anytime. You guys make it easy. Congratulations again on the birth of your nephew, and let's stay in touch, and we'll be looking forward to seeing where you end up, brother.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that'll do it for this episode of Field of Draft. For John Pupel, I'm John Serenitas. Till next time, peace.